At 11:42 p.m., an 18-year-old student was declared brain dead in the intensive care unit of a Los Angeles hospital. It was a motorcycle accident. He had not worn a helmet, and despite 72 hours of the doctor's best efforts, brain function never recovered. The neurosurgeon told the family there was nothing more that could be done, and that there was no possibility of recovery. The mother screamed, the father slammed his fist into the wall, and the younger sister was crying in the hallway. 12 minutes later, a woman walked into the ICU waiting room. Her name was Sarah, 42 years old, an organ transplant coordinator. She had been doing this work for 11 years. She is on call 24 hours a day. The moment a brain death declaration is made, she receives a call and arrives at the hospital within 15 minutes, no matter the circumstances. She has only one thing to do: to ask a question of a family in their most grief-stricken, most shattered moment. Would you consider organ donation? This is the work of an organ transplant coordinator. It is life-saving work, but the process is not beautiful. In the United States, approximately 100,000 people are currently waiting for organ transplants, including hearts, livers, kidneys, lungs, and corneas. They are waiting for someone's brain death. Because organs must be extracted while the heart is still beating and blood is still circulating, while the organs are still alive, for transplantation to be possible. The people who coordinate this process are OPO coordinators. There are 58 organizations across the United States, each covering a specific region and standing by 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Over 11 years, Sarah coordinated approximately 880 organ donations. She witnessed 880 deaths, saw the grief of 880 families, and in the process, slowly fell apart. That night, Sarah sat before the boy's parents and carefully explained organ donation. The mother screamed that her son was still alive, that his heart was still beating, and the father asked if they were suggesting they cut his son open. Sarah had heard this reaction hundreds of times over 11 years. She calmly explained what brain death meant, that the process would be carried out with dignity, and that his death could save other lives. 45 minutes later, the parents consented, and surgery began at 4:30 in the morning. That day, one boy's heart, liver, kidneys, lungs, and corneas saved a total of 7 lives. Sarah returned home after 19 hours. She showered and lay down in bed, but could not sleep. The mother's scream, "My son is still alive," kept echoing in her ears. She had saved 7 people, but felt no joy, because of the guilt of having exploited a family's worst moment. In 2018, a bioethics research team at Harvard Medical School conducted a study of 250 coordinators. The number one hardest aspect was witnessing the grief of families, cited by 89%, and 71% named the feeling of being like a vulture. A vulture, a bird that feeds on the dead. Many coordinators describe themselves this way: organs are a race against time. A heart must be transplanted within 4 to 6 hours, a liver within 12, a kidney within 24. So coordinators must approach families immediately after brain death is declared, before the family has even begun to process the shock. Because the deeper the grief sets in, the higher the chance the family will refuse. Having to exploit grief in order to save lives, this is the ethical dilemma of this profession. One coordinator left a written account. It was a case involving a 7-year-old girl declared brain dead after a drowning accident in a swimming pool. The mother screamed that her daughter was still warm, that they were trying to take her organs already, calling the coordinator a vulture. The coordinator apologized but could not leave, because on the waiting list was a 6-year-old boy who would die if he did not receive a heart within 2 weeks. An hour later, the parents consented, and the heart transplant succeeded. But the coordinator could not sleep that night. The purpose was good, but the method was cruel, and that felt true. OPO coordinators are evaluated by performance. After the federal government announced new evaluation standards in 2019, monthly targets were set, and coordinators received warnings if they failed to meet them. Sarah was required to obtain a minimum of 8 donation consents per month. It was the moment life became a number. In a 2021 survey by the American Society of Transplantation, the burnout rate among coordinators was 82%, depression diagnosis 45%, and average tenure just 3.7 years. The number one reason for leaving was emotional exhaustion. Their places are filled by new people who will also slowly fall apart. In the winter of 2022, Sarah quit as a coordinator after 11 years. It was after 880 donations and approximately 4,000 lives saved. In her final case, a single mother said while signing, "You get paid because my son died." Those words broke Sarah, because they were, to some degree, true. She now works in hospice care. Her salary was cut in half, but she says she is no longer a vulture. Her place was filled by a 28-year-old former nurse who applied because she wanted to save lives. She does not yet know that this is only the beginning. As of 2024, approximately 5,000 coordinators in the United States work every day between death and grief, between life and ethics. Last year, approximately 15,000 organ donations saved around 42,000 lives. But nobody speaks of their suffering, because they are supposed to be heroes. We talk about the miracle of organ transplantation, the beautiful story of one person's death saving many lives. But we do not ask, who creates that miracle? What price is paid? What it feels like to persuade a family in their most grief-stricken moment? Why does such noble, life-saving work break people apart like this? Can we truly continue to look away from that question? Thank you. See you in the next story.